On an all-new Dr. Phil.
My son is not capable of taking care of my grandson.
He's homeless.
You say the child is dirty, sippy cup is full of mold.
And raising a toddler alone.
Daddy.
My grandson is malnourished.
The kid eats every single day.
You seem agitated.
Yeah, hearing all these lies?
I just met you. I cannot have run a red light yet.
No, not yet.
You got a chip on your shoulder the size of Mount Everest. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. This is Terry and her ex-husband, John. Now, they divorced 17 years ago, but today they have come together and joined forces for the sake of their 2-year-old grandson, because they both say his life is at risk if he remains in the custody of their son, David. Why? Because according to John and Terry, their precious grandson is spending his days being raised out of this truck. Now, sometimes surviving on only milk and crackers during the day, wearing dirty diapers far longer than he should, and drinking out of a moldy sippy cup. They say David has left them no choice but to seek legal custody of their grandchild if he doesn't shape up and start getting his life together. Take a look.
When I have a dirty diaper, it goes and it sits right here. Come on, let's go. I'm not carrying you.
David is not a good father. He's currently homeless, living in a shelter. I'm very worried about my grandson and his possibilities of injury.
Look up. Everything back here is my son is.
My grandson's sippy cup was full of mold. My grandson is malnourished. He's surviving on crackers, milk, and whatever little food the shelter supplies him.
I got food and snacks. Got some crackers, cookies.
I fear for my grandson's quality of life. They were living in the truck. Where do you sleep? Where do you bathe? Where do you eat? He needs a home, a bed, a bath.
Every time I see him, he's dirty. The nails will be full of black.
So
his
he's not
face is
getting
dirty.
bathed and washed?
Not at all, no. David keeps his clothes in the back of his truck, usually in a box, a bag. The way the shelter works is David and my grandson have to leave at 6:30 in the morning. During the day, they have to spend their time driving around in that broken down truck that he has. My grandson is running wild with David on a daily basis. When I see my grandson, it breaks my heart. He looks like a lost puppy in a shelter. His eyes are sad. David always has excuses why he can't get a job.
I want my grandson to have a normal life. If David doesn't get help, I will have to take my grandson. I would adopt him if I had to. I will do anything to protect him.
You two have been divorced for a long time, but you're closing ranks here for the benefit of this child.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
That's all it's about.
I don't know about, I'm not going to speak for you, but I'm done. My grandson needs protection. I know my son loves him, but he is not capable of taking care of my grandson.
Okay, so the child is dirty.
Yes.
You say he's
Neglected.
filthy, hands are dirty.
Feet are black all the time.
Has he gotten his shots,
No.
vaccines, all of this?
At
So he's
9
living
months old,
on
I
the street
believe.
and in a shelter, but he hasn't had vaccinations since 9 months?
No.
Since he was 9 months old.
Okay. So he's currently homeless, either in a shelter or living in this truck?
Right.
He just went in the shelter last week. So
Okay.
he hasn't been in it this entire time. He's been kicked out of the same shelter 2 or 3 times for violence in the past.
You saw him, John, on the 23rd of September, right?
Correct.
And you said it looked like they had been in a 3-week dump?
Yeah.
David doesn't take pride in his appearance or
You said
clean
his
up.
feet and legs were all black and...
Yeah, his feet, his legs especially, are stained. You can't clean them. We've scrubbed them. We put them in the bath every day. We get
So
our
the
hands
skin
on them.
itself is actually stained from
Correct.
being
From dirt.
unclean.
Yeah.
What does he say about that? If you say to him,
He's the same way.
you say, look, the child is dirty, he's filthy, that is unsanitary, what does he say?
Bathe him.
He tells us to do it.
Bathe them.
Well, then give him a bath, Mom or Dad.
Yeah.
Give him a bath then.
Okay, you said to him, look, this sippy cup is full of mold. I mean, this is something you're feeding him out of. I've got a picture of it right here.
That's disgusting.
This is full of mold. This is what he's feeding the child.
Yes.
What did he say about this?
No comment. He didn't have a comment. Just,
How could he not have a comment?
he had nothing to say.
He adamantly denies his parents' accusations. He says he is a great father who doesn't need their help and will never give up custody because his son belongs to him. Take a look at what he has to say.
I leave the shelter about 7 o'clock, and then I go over to go get breakfast. It's kind of like a soup kitchen, but you can go over there and get clothes. And then we go to a park for a few hours, probably until about lunch. And then we go to another spot, preferably by the water, so he can go and play in the water and throw rocks. It's better to live here in the shelter than with my parents. I leave everything in the truck except for maybe a couple of bags. Got a book, sippy cup, another toy. He loves that thing. And then his diaper bag. Got his wipes. His blankie is normally in there. Shoes. My son eats every day. He does not ever go hungry. I mean, he's always got something to eat, whether it's a donut or whether it's, you know, some cookies or some crackers. I do change him in the truck. Actually, I change him where I'm sitting. He always gets his diaper changed when it needs to be changed. I have never ran out. I always got spares. He does get diaper rashes, but it's nothing from actually having a diaper on too long. It's from the food that he eats. My parents criticize the way that I raise my son. They just say that I don't need to be dragging him around town. That's all. I do think my son is better off with me. I can't give him the world, but I can show him what the world is. No.
David, I'm Dr. Phil.
Hi.
How are you?
Could be better.
You seem a bit agitated.
Yeah, I'm hearing all these lies.
Well, tell me
and
let me say this first. My number one goal is the unification of families. I believe that parents and children should be together. So you're looking at your number one ally and advocate in terms of keeping parents and children together. I think as long as a parent is healthy and has the child's best interest at heart and advocates for them, I'm your best ally. And so as long as the child's best interest is there, that's where I am. So
that kid comes first no matter what.
Absolutely.
I don't care what they say. I don't care what anybody says. That kid comes first.
Yeah. So what is it that's got you agitated about what you've heard so far? What have they said?
That sippy cup thing, I don't know where that cup came from. You can even look in his diaper bag, look at everything he's got right now.
You can check with
None of it is dirty.
You can check with my
he is
witness who
spotless
pulled it
himself.
out of your bag.
He takes a shower every night.
This is a non-traditional situation you're in with your son. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Tell me why you're living in that situation rather than having him in a more stable, nurturing environment than what he's in now.
I did up until my truck was stolen and everything was taken from me yet again, and I ended up homeless.
Everything is poor David.
Wow.
It's always poor David.
This is true. He's always
His
the victim.
attitude is the victim in every situation. Why was your truck stolen? How was it stolen?
Because I'm a dumbass and I left my keys in the truck.
There you go.
But okay, how
and
am I
your
supposed
wallet, and your money, and all your tools, and all your equipment.
Okay, I threw my jacket off, I put it in the truck, I went to go to sleep. How the hell was I supposed to
You
know
were
that
inside the
somebody
house.
was going to go and steal my truck with all my freaking equipment?
You might as well
in
put
it
a sign on there, take
and
my truck.
Put me
Get
in the
keys in
streets
there.
again.
It's their fault.
All right, everybody take a deep breath here. David admits his 2-year-old son is still in diapers, hasn't had vaccinations since he was 9 months old, and sometimes only eats one meal a day. We're going to talk about all that when we come back, and we're going to talk about what we can do to stabilize and improve this situation. I'm here for one reason. If this was just conflict between these parents and this adult son, frankly, I wouldn't be here. I've got 10,000 other stories I would be talking about. I'm here because there's a 2-year-old child involved, and we're going to talk about him right after the break.
This place is not good for his routine, but this is what we got for now. It's what was handed. There are days where he doesn't eat at all. Toddlers are very much a handful. Come on, let's go.
And later, anybody grades your paper, that child is plucked and put in foster care or with a family member 100 out of 100 times.
My son is a narcissist. He expects people to bend over backwards for him. He thinks the world owes him. Like, we made him homeless. It is ridiculous. You are a grown-ass man. You're responsible for yourself.
David is never wrong in his mind. He's always the victim. And my grandson is the victim in all of this.
Well, John and Terry say their 23-year-old son, David, is a terrible parent who should not have custody of his toddler son because he can barely take care of himself. They claim their grandson is malnourished and understimulated. David says, no. He says that he is a good father who takes his son to the park and feeds him donuts, cookies, bologna, fast food whenever he has the money to do it. Take a look.
I am a very good father. He is talking.
Daddy, Daddy.
He knows 1, 2, 3 words for sentences. He says, I love you, Dad.
Look at me.
There are days where he doesn't eat at all, but that's not because I don't have enough food or anything like that. It's because he's not feeling well. And those days, I make sure that he does have supplements where he drinks Gatorade or he drinks some soda so he can have some caffeine, some sugar in his system, that kind of thing. Come on, let's go. Get in the van. Toddlers are very much a handful. My son's bedtime routine is 9 o'clock. Sometimes it'll take him 15 or 20 minutes to fall asleep. The shelter is not good for his routine because it's too military. If I had a home for my son to be in with me, that's where we would be. But this is what we got for now. This is definitely not the best way for my son to live. Yet somehow it's what was handed and it's something I got to deal with. And it's something that he has got to deal with.
David, nobody made you homeless. You've had him he's been on this planet.
Yeah, but nobody stopped
and you've had
it either.
a year before he was on this planet to prepare.
Do you think
to
I
give
want to
him-
be homeless?
I got you an apartment
Why
Okay,
are
yeah,
you?
look what happened to
after
that.
he was born.
I got evicted from it.
Why?
Why? Ask them. They
I
never
did.
even gave me an answer.
Oh, I got the answer.
Okay, then tell me what it
All of
was.
your neighbors complained about your attitude and your
I'm not trying to impress
violence
anybody.
and anger.
Yeah, violence.
Absolutely.
I'm not
The
trying to
violence,
impress
David.
anybody. I got a kid to raise. That's all that matters to me.
I just met you, okay? So you can't have a problem with me. I
know. You're Dr. Phil. You know, it's awesome. But this
just-
whole situation sucks.
Well, I just met you. I cannot have run a red light yet.
No, not yet.
We got to figure out why you're getting in your own way. You got a chip on your shoulder the size of Mount Everest. Why do you have such a chip on your shoulder?
It's just because sitting backstage, watching all these things being said, and none of it's the truth. The kid takes a shower every single day. The kid eats every single day. I take the kid out to go play and do all these things so he can grow up. I go and I teach and I, show him these things so he can be a kid. But living in a truck, I'm sorry, I can't potty train him when I have to go and change his diaper in a vehicle. It's not that simple. Food, yeah, I can't make him a home-cooked meal because I got to buy friggin' McDonald's for him to eat. But the kid has something to eat.
You have to know that the situation you currently have your son in is not the best situation for his development.
It's unacceptable, I know that is.
Okay, so knowing that, you need to seek aggressively the best alternative you can seek, regardless of how you might feel about it. It's not about you.
No, it's all
The whole
about
thing
him.
about being a parent is putting the child's interest ahead of your own.
And that's exactly what I've been doing. I got him into the shelter because if it was just me, I wouldn't have gone back. They don't even want me there, but I have to do it for the kid
Why do they not want you there?
because of the history that I have there.
And what is that history?
Not very good. Getting into arguments with people, getting kicked out, things of that nature.
What is your problem with anger, in your opinion?
It's not that I have a problem with my anger. It's just that I have a problem with people who
look at me saying that I'm a bad person or I could be doing this or, you know, judging me when they have no friggin' clue as to who I am or what I've been through. Yeah, I'm 23. Yeah, I'm living in a shelter. But for the past 5 or 6 years, half of the time I have lived on the street, sleeping under a pillar or in a friggin' dumpster. And they don't understand that. They have never been there. So them to say that I'm a bad parent for me putting my kid in a shelter with me, that's ridiculous.
Let me correct 2 things. First of all,
Feel free.
You're 100% right. I've never experienced that, and I never will.
Because
Why?
we chose not to.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, and you think I chose
worked,
this? You think
I
I
have
wanted
worked
this
since
crap?
I was 6 or 7 years old. Second is, why are you in the shelter? Why? Specifically, why?
Why? So
Yeah.
I can have a
No.
roof over my head.
That's
for my son.
incorrect, because I forced you to go that direction.
Oh.
Because I told you you
Because
could
I
not
had
continue
nowhere
on
else
the
to
street.
go.
Exactly. I would not give you any more room at my home. That's right.
Nobody is supposed to have to give you anything. You're supposed to be out there
I'm
hustling
not saying
and
give me
earning
this,
it.
give me that. I'm asking for you for his sake. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother in the first place.
So,
You did not come up and ask me for help. You came up and asked for a donation again.
No,
that's all you ever
I
asked
was going
for.
to talk to you, but every time I went to talk to you, there
You
was
put it in
always an
writing.
excuse. Every time.
You put it in writing.
No. Listen to this. Every time I showed up at your house, you had somewhere to go. So when I would go to your
called
house, knocking
avoidance.
on your
yeah,
door,
we just
asking
get
to
to
talk
a
to
point where
you,
we have to avoid you.
asking to talk to you about getting help, seeing if we can come up with some kind of plan, you always had somewhere else to go.
I run a business.
Okay,
I have a
good. Go run a
family.
business, but you
I have
can't
2 other
take 10
children.
Okay,
minutes to
well,
talk
I
to
don't
me?
have anywhere to go.
10 minutes, that's
I
all.
don't have anywhere to go. I'm here, and I do want to talk about it. Let's take a break here. John says his grandson is terrified of David, cowers like a puppy in front of him. David says that is not true, and he will never be separated from his son. It's time to get real about where this is headed if something doesn't change. We'll be right back.
When David's in a blackout rage, he'll damage anything in his path.
I felt like an abused wife would feel.
When he has these fits, I think my grandson is terrified of David. I'm afraid it's going to escalate to of no return.
When he doesn't listen, yes, I spank him. When he starts acting up, yeah, I'll flick him behind the ear or on the head or something like that. But while I actually like smack him or punch him or throw him or do any of that, no, I don't. I haven't, I never will.
No.
Well, Terry and
Yeah,
John
it is.
say when David was 8 years old, he was diagnosed with ADHD, bipolar, anxiety, and depression. Now they believe his mental illness has progressed into what they call blackout rages, which he refuses to take medication for. They say now they are scared their grandchild will get caught up in the crossfire of one of his uncontrollable, rage-filled outbursts.
My son is violent and out of control. David thinks with vengeance and blind rages.
He won't remember what happened after a blackout rage. It could start with the simplest thing, like, Mom, I need 20 bucks for gas. I don't have 20 bucks. He will stand toe-to-toe with me and fight. I'm a bitch. He wishes I was dead. Sometimes he wants to save me so bad, I can see it. I can feel it. He picked up a towel once and twisted it up and smacked me across the face with it. I felt like an abused wife would feel.
When David's in a blackout rage, he sees nothing. He will yell and scream at the top of his lungs. He'll damage anything in his path. He has actually taken a shovel to Terry's Tahoe and broke her side mirror.
He picked up one of his shovels and he swung it like a baseball bat and he said he wished it was my head.
When he has these fits, I think my grandson is terrified of David. My grandson got a hold of a black marker and apparently drew on himself. David came over and showed me some pictures, kind of laughing, and he said, well, that'll never happen again. I beat the crap out of him, and he's learned his lesson. I'm afraid that if he doesn't get the help that he needs and get back on medication, we're going to see the wrong side of David. It's going to escalate to a point of no return.
Okay, now I want to talk to David for a minute,
Okay.
and I would appreciate it if you wouldn't help just right now.
Okay.
What's your plan for a year from now?
A year from now, to have my own place, working full-time or going to school full-time.
How long has it been since you've had a job for a year?
It's been a while. I don't know, 6, 7 years, something like that.
Diagnose that for me. Why is it in the last 6 or 7 years you've not had steady employment?
A steady job, like collecting a paycheck from somebody, because I've been working for
steady
under the
income
table.
in some way. Steady income in some way that you've wound up homeless.
Nothing ever lasts more than 6 months at a time. And for that reason, it's for a million different reasons, whether I'm late too many times or I'm not working hard enough or I'm not putting enough effort, whatever the reason is.
But the common denominator is you.
Yeah.
And so,
But is it the anger? Is it the outburst? Is it the fighting? No, it is not.
I don't know. You tell me what it is. You say I show up too late, I don't work hard enough, whatever the situation is. I'm trying to figure it out. I can't solve a problem I don't understand. I'm trying to get you to partner with me in figuring out what's going on, because here's what's going to happen. Your current situation with your child fails every criteria for fitness of a home environment for a child.
No.
Anybody comes in from Child Protective Services and grades your paper, that child is plucked and put in foster care or with a family member 100 out of 100 times. I am trained as a forensic psychologist. I have worked as an officer of the court to determine fitness of a parent, and I can tell you 100 out of 100 times you lose in your current situation. That means we need to change your current situation, which is doable.
Yeah.
But you've got to help me instead of being pissed off about everything.
I'm not pissed off at you. I'm kind of pissed off at them.
Well, I don't care if you're pissed off at me. I am expendable. I am not somebody that needs to be loved by strangers. So it's okay. I'm expendable. They are not, because they're your family and they're somebody that can help you. We got to take a quick break. Then I'm going to start talking about some things that we can do. Terry and John say their grandson is starting to pick up David's bad behavior, biting and bumping other kids on the head and showing aggression. We'll be right back.
Bite me.
David bites his son, and now my grandson has picked up on that, and he will bite and headbutt other children and adults. When he's hitting, he'll try and slap you in the face. He thinks he's just playing.
Closed captioning provided by...
We are at my dad's house because I need to borrow some money so I can get some food. He's the only way that's going to happen.
What do you need? What's going on?
Is there any chance I can borrow $20 to get some lunch? Please.
More money.
Yeah, more money.
What about doing some work?
What do you need done?
That project we always do on the side, the Ivy.
I can do that.
I got a couple extra ones there I need to do.
Thank you.
You got it.
Terry and John say their son David would rather have his 2-year-old son be homeless and live in a shelter than allow him to live with one of them while he gets his life together. Now, David says his parents are no angels, and no one can ever be a better parent to his son than he can. Take a look.
My grandson is picking up on David's bad habits.
He went and stayed with my middle son, who has a 3-year-old. David's son was biting, leaving the whole mouth print. My other grandson's shoulder.
Don't bite me. Don't bite me.
David bites his son as either a game or a discipline, and now my grandson has picked up on that, and he will bite and headbutt other children and adults.
My grandson was one to punch. He would walk up to one of my friends and grab her.
When he's hitting, he'll try and slap you in the face. He'll try and punch you. He'll try and tackle you. He thinks he's just playing. I've heard David many times say, "Do you want me to bite you?"
Ow! Bite me.
That really concerns me. I don't know if that's a part of the discipline or if he's playing a game with him, but my grandson doesn't know the difference.
Now, how do you think your son's doing for his age?
He's a little behind, I know that. Like, he could be talking more and doing more, but...
Do you know, in terms of developmental benchmarks, have you researched that to know where he is?
Where he should be right now?
Where he should be?
I have a little, yeah.
And so where is he in terms of motor skills and cognition and those sort of things?
He's behind.
How much would you assess? A little, a lot?
A little. I couldn't say a lot because, I mean, he is pretty smart. I mean, from what the video is showing, it's not showing a whole lot, but the kid knows a lot more than it looks.
Well, the good news is that at 2, if there is a developmental lag, children are very resilient and they can really close the gap with good stimulation and proper care and nurturance. They can close the gap.
Yeah.
And the problem is you've got a child that is over here and he really doesn't have a vote. So he's really, if you're stagnant, he's
Wherever I
stagnant,
go,
and
he
he doesn't
goes.
get a vote. If you get dragged down, he's getting dragged down with you, and that's unfair to him. And what I want to do is for you to have someone that helps you rather than judge you, and that's what I'm trying to do. Because at this point, I think you want to do better. I think you just don't know how to do better. I mean, I think you don't know. I think if somebody told you, charge that machine gun nest, run through that wall, I think you'd be happy to do it if you knew there was something better on the other side.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do? Can this family come together to save this child? Are these 2 resources? Well, I'm going to find out because we're getting ready to start making a plan. We'll be right back. John says he repeatedly told his son David to either man up now or hand over his child to be looked after until he can. Have you 2 noticed that your approach to David isn't working?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
definitely it doesn't work.
You're saying, I'm going to give you 5 examples here how I'm by God right. And you're probably right, but it sure isn't making you happy because you're not getting any kind of change over here.
No.
If you think he wants to be homeless, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't
But he
wanna
wants
be
somebody to give him
homeless.
something.
But wait a minute. Don't you, see, you just said but.
Yeah, but
And but means forget what I just said. I'm going to now tell you what I really
yes,
think.
that's true.
He doesn't really want to be homeless, but I'm going to give you all the reasons that he apparently does because he is, and blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to finish that sentence for you. He doesn't want to be homeless. He gets in his own way, but he doesn't want to be homeless. Trust me, I've been homeless.
I know you have.
I've lived on the street. And I've just spent some time on the street. Recently, I was down shooting on Skid Row here in LA with a program we're doing called Behind the Badge. This is homeless.
I know what homeless is.
This is homeless right here.
I don't want to be dealing with that.
But we need to agree that this child living in this truck, in a shelter, on the street, wherever, that cannot be this child's future.
It needs to stop.
Because if that's the child's future, you'll lose the child.
Yeah.
Robin and I work in the foster care system. We work with CASA, the Court-Appointed Special Advocates for Foster Children. And this is a broken system. That child goes into foster care, it is a crapshoot. There are loving, caring, nurturant foster parents, and there are those that take in 5 or 6 because they get money for them, and they warehouse them and neglect them and have no idea what's happening to them. You do not want the government intervening in your family. Because if the government intervenes in your family and they reach in and take this child out and you lose control, you have no idea the hell you will have trying to unring that bell. Robin, am I telling the truth?
That's right. That's right. I've sat with these family court judges, and they will tell me that when they see this kind of situation, all the bickering and the fighting, their dream is to have a loving family member. But when they see this kind of fighting, they will take that child and put it in the foster care system as quickly as they can just to give that child a home. And you don't know what kind of foster family they have. and he might go into a family where there are 6, 8, 10 other children, and he will be abused, neglected, crying every night, thinking, Daddy, why did you do this to me? Grandma, why did you do this to me? Grandpa, why did you do this to me? And you may never see him again. And it's because you all couldn't get along, couldn't sit down together and make a plan that will help this child live a happy, healthy life the rest of his life.
I'm what's called a mandated reporter. And that means if I am not very clear that there is an immediate plan and program to get this child out of harm's way, I am required by law to report this situation to the Department of Child and Family Services. I have no choice unless I know there is an immediate plan to take this child out of harm's way. This is Dr. Frank Lawless right here. He is the chairman of the Dr. Phil Advisory Board. Dr. Lawless, am I not correct in saying that we need to keep A, this situation out of the system, and B, come up with an immediate plan to take this child out of harm's way?
Yes, and we have to do it today.
That's exactly right. So the hatchet needs to be buried between you guys here, and you come in with a chip on your shoulder, you admit that you're having blackout rage, you say that you're not having traction, but yet you're obviously a very intelligent and able-bodied guy. You even have a sense of humor, despite being pissed off.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that you love your son. I have no doubt about that whatsoever.
He's all I got, and he's my entire world.
But you know he deserves better.
I know he deserves better.
I don't want to judge you, I want to help you.
Okay.
And the first thing I want to do is, he is the chairman of the advisory board, but he is also the director of the top diagnostic center in America, the P&P Center. It's the Psychoneuroplasticity Center, which is why I say P&P, so we don't have to say psychoneuroplasticity every time. And they're based in Dallas, Texas. And I want you, and this is my gift to you, I want to fly you to Dallas. I want you to go to this center, and you'll probably be there 2 or 3 days. I want them to do a complete workup on you and figure out where you are biochemically, where you are psychologically, neurologically, biochemically. We need to figure out what you need to be optimal and not have this rage. Then I want to get you a life coach where you can wake up and say, you know what? I did something for my child. This was a sharp turn in his life and mine.
Yeah.
And if you've had a better offer, tell me.
Nope. I haven't been offered anything near that.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to make you that offer, but I'm going to say, can I have a commitment from the 3 of you that you're going to stop this bickering and come together to take care of this child while we put this plan together? Because I don't want to report this. Yeah. I want to know that I have the 3 of you saying we can fight later. We're going to put this child first.
Yeah. Definitely.
Of course. Thank you.
Fair enough? Okay? All right? Okay. All right, next, we're going to meet an officer who helps people who live on the streets and who is making it his mission to keep those streets as safe as possible. We'll be right back. Closed captioning provided by... Well, this is season 15, and I've started a new program that we're weaving into a lot of our shows called Behind the Badge. And through this program, I've been introducing you to extraordinary police officers who are putting their lives on the line to keep us safe and are going above and beyond to make their communities better. Now, one of those officers is right here in Los Angeles, where he walks downtown's Skid Row beat every day. Take a look.
Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing? Doing what's called community outreach, or what I call grassroots policing. Section 8 housing, if you're interested. If you have Section 8, I find programs and things that are outside of Skid Row to help people, because some people can't get better in Skid Row. If you're looking for housing, some housing opportunities, if you have Section 8, brand new properties away from Skid Row. I hear about job opportunities that'll hire people. I pass that out. Here you go, ma'am.
I met Officer Joseph 2 months ago. I was in need of a job. I just stopped and asked him if he had a job listing that he could provide me with. He actually took time to go up to his office. He gave me like a 10-page listing, and I actually got the job.
I want people from Skid Row to join our community police academy, because they shouldn't be marginalized or ostracized. They should be there too, because we want them to understand what police work really is.
I've been going through a lot of drama with drug dealers and gang members, so they'll threaten me. And so Joseph approached all these gangbangers to leave me alone. They fear him because they know he don't play. Officer Joseph is my bodyguard.
This is my hero right here. My hero.
Our Superman. Having an officer like Deon Joseph has made us feel much safer here at Union Rescue Mission, made our guests feel so much safer, and having a good relationship with the LAPD.
He's my role model. I saw how patient he was with people who would get in his face, yell at him, curse at him, and he just showed such patience and love that I began to incorporate that into my policing strategy, and it just helped me be a better police officer and be more sensitive to the needs of the homeless. You never know what's going to happen. Don't stand around waiting for a thank you or think it's going to happen overnight. Sometimes it's that one moment. I ain't no star. Hi, Mr. Joseph. How you doing? That one moment that could change somebody's life 2, 3 years from now. A lot of these people are forgotten. Well, I want to make sure they're not forgotten.
When I heard about Officer Joseph, I just had to meet him, so I headed to downtown Los Angeles, Skid Row. Take a look. I'm downtown LA on Skid Row, and I'm getting ready to talk to Officer Joseph, who's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on down here and why he chooses to be here. How you doing?
Good, sir.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. You're down here because you want to be.
Absolutely. I can't think of another place I want to be other than being here for these people.
Why?
My DNA. My mother and father were great people of faith. They wanted to help people. They raised 41 foster children who suffered from sexual abuse, physical abuse. My father hired ex-convicts because he believed they deserved a second chance.
When you're here, how do you spend your time?
When I'm not crime fighting, I like to walk amongst the people, pass out outreach information like drug programs, housing information, job programs for people who have criminal records who can't get a second chance anywhere else.
Right.
Biggest thing for me is being there for it, being highly visible. I believe in grassroots policing, you know, coming up with creative, not only crime fighting strategies, but non-enforcement contact and programs to empower these people.
So you're not quick to grab the handcuffs?
No. What I feel is best is to be visible to deter crime and physically be there for the people if they need me. That's a familiar sound. Skid Row is extremely violent right now. We had a man get stabbed to death today.
When we turned to come down this way, a guy staggered out into the street and a car ran smooth over him.
I would assume that that's someone who is struggling with mental illness. Then they come down to places like Skid Row, run out of their medication. Who's here to medicate them? The gang members.
What percentage of these folks down here would you say suffer from mental illness of some type?
A safe estimation would be about 65%.
So what do you think right now about the press that is going on with law enforcement? What do we got to do to turn this around?
If you don't show the other side of police work, the honorable rule of law enforcement, and you only focus on the negative exception, it gives people the perception that all things have gone to hell in a handbasket, and that's not true.
I do think there are great stories to tell, and you know, we came to you. You know, you're not looking for attention. You let us give you some, and
I truly appreciate that. My goal in this is to show the world these beautiful people I serve that are laying in this quarter. They need an environment conducive to change.
Officer Joseph is another officer that's making a difference because of the choices he's making. Another officer that's choosing to stand in the gap so you and I can rest a lot easier every day of our lives. Thank you. What I want all of you to do in your community is when you see a police officer on the street, just take 1 second to stop, shake their hand, and say, hey, thank you for what you do. We do appreciate it. And trust me, they need to hear that. They especially need to hear it right now. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Dr. Frank Lawless and the Lawless Peavy P&P Center, and LAPD Senior Lead Officer Dion Joseph. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. You can also join in the conversation today on Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.